My name is Lori Kay, and I'm the founder of Monsters Made with Love, and I teach sewing with a self-love twist. I teach people to make perfectly imperfect fleece monsters with hand sewing. We make monsters that represent things that you love about yourself and maybe embrace things that you make maybe a little self-conscious about yourself also. These were both made from the same pattern, but if you notice, one has horns, one has ears, they have different types of tails. This one's got a little funky eye. You can put anything in your monster. You put wings, tails, hearts, scars, anything. This one has a little scar going on. He has a little boo-boo. And actually it's funny, his little toes are messed up too, but he's still so cute, and he's like perfectly handheld size, and I just love him. You're gonna love it no matter what. Just like people, we're all completely, totally, perfectly imperfect, and we all hold space who we are, and there is no real perfect ever. I ask people to list things they love about themselves, and there's a nice duality about it. For somebody who is outgoing, they could put that down, but somebody could also be proud that they're shy. So it's interesting what one person could say is perfect for them or they love about themselves can be something totally different for somebody else, and own it. My monster, Greta, it's like she's a bear, and because I'm Mama Bear, cute and cuddly and fierce when I need to protect somebody. She has 3 eyes because I try to use my intuition. She has wings because I'm lighthearted, and she has a butt because I embrace my big butt, my booty. And it's like she's not perfect, but she's so there for me all the time, and I rub her ears when I get stressed out, and she travels with me everywhere. And she's just my little buddy. I didn't realize that I would be able to touch so many people. There are so many groups that can be helped. I work with kids as young as 4 at a homeschool co-op. I work with kids with YMCA and Boys and Girls Club and Emerald Youth, but then I also work with mental health patients and help them realize what they can love about themselves. Cancer support community. I work with some special needs at Spark. For kids, it's great for fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination. Teaching them how to sew is something that they can do for the rest of their lives. For teens, oh my gosh, it's fantastic to let them express their deep, dark, ugly side. And to let them embrace a stuffed animal, because the stuffed animal is the first act of self-love, and to go back to that childhood and have that moment. And then adults, we don't ever really do anything for ourselves. It's fun having men take my classes, especially when they don't expect that they're doing one. Making a monster like, oh, I guess I'll do one too. And when they're done, they're like, oh my gosh, and the wings open up when they do this, and this happens, and that happens, and they get so excited about it. So I think everybody should be making monsters, but I almost always have a student that can't list what they love about themselves. I have a student that doesn't think they're good enough to make a monster, or their monster is going to be good enough. I have somebody who's always a perfectionist, and they have a hard time moving on from that stitch that isn't perfect. I also usually have somebody who thinks they know exactly what they're doing, and they make so many mistakes, and I love that they embrace them still. With the kits that I have, you don't even have to live in Knoxville to make a monster. The only thing you need to provide is scissors and a pencil. It has your eyes, your fluff, your needles, your thread, everything you need to make a monster, and super simple instructions. Sewing to start should be simple. It shouldn't be complicated. When my mom tried to teach me, I always felt it was really complicated, and it had to be perfect and it had to be exact. It doesn't. See, this is something I did, taking a pair of jeans that I may not have worn because the hole was too big, and sew it. And it's imperfect, but it looks so much fun. And so learning how to sew doesn't have to be perfect, even when it's clothes. And I love to be able to help the environment by teaching people to sew that they can repurpose fabric. And instead of throwing something out, you can repurpose it or mend it even. And that's the thing, is embrace your imperfections. Sometimes I ask kids to write a story about their monsters. What adventures do they go on? So if they do like to write, or it's another avenue that a child that is more academic can still learn something and then go into a realm that they like to do that's a little bit different. What does your monster represent? And give it activity. And then also you can take it with you, you can play with it, you can pose it, you can put it places. Letting kids celebrate being a kid and being an adult and going back to that happy place is so important. You need to have that and just find that lightheartedness, and that's where a lot of the creativity can come out and grow. Being able to showcase how you can be creative is really nice to have for a child, especially if they struggle with reading or writing or things like that, to be able to have something that's super creative to do and give them an outlet and realizing I can create, I can do this. Creative people's brain think differently. When you're in school, you're like, you have to read, you have to write, you have to do all these things, and you have to remember, and giving them a chance to just create, and then something that they can play with even that they create. So on June 26th from 12 to 2, you can meet the maker at the Muse Pop. And what we're gonna be doing is a community monster. I am so excited about this. I've done this several times, and the kids get to come up and they can help me design a monster that's gonna be for the Muse. They'll be able to pick the eyes. How many eyes does the monster have? What color eyes does it have? Where should they be? What kind of arms and legs, and does it have wings? Does it have a tail? Does it have polka dots? And the kids will help me pick out what the monster looks like and then help me make it. A 4-year-old will be able to help me stitch. You know, they can do this. I made that stitch, I made that knot, I picked out those eyes. You know what I mean? That's really powerful. So come on through, and your kids can help me sit down and figure out what this community monster looks like for the Muse.